You can work on specific parts of your game just by gamifying it. So instead of breaking it down and saying, okay, here's the round I'm really trying to work on my game, and here I'm just playing a, quote, casual round, realize both can be an opportunity both for fun and getting a lot better at the game. And if you combine this with however many rounds you play in a year, 10, 20, 50, 100, whatever, there's a lot of opportunity to get better and have a lot of fun at the same time.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Links for Life. It's me again. Sorry for anyone who is bummed out about that. You're stuck with me another episode.
Oh, man, we have a good time together.
It is a lot of fun. And this episode, I think, is going to be a lot of fun, too, because we've mentioned in practicing well and all these other things, the importance of just like having fun, enjoying golf, gamifying it. And so we thought, why don't we just talk about the different games of golf? And so that's really what this whole episode's about.
Yeah, and I think it is going to be a lot of fun, and you can probably tell from episodes I can get kind of intense about the game, and that's all fine, and that's one of the ways I have a lot of fun. But golf is a game, and we're supposed to have fun with it, and so I think one of the things that came to my mind thinking about this episode is I think we can kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. We can have a lot of fun. We can even find some new incredible ways to have fun, and at the same time, it being improving our game a lot. So we're going to talk both about, kind of a whole bunch of different ways that maybe there'll be some new ideas for people, or new games that they hadn't heard of that they can bring to golf, but also talk about how those very things can help your game a lot,
right,
along the way.
And it's fun too. I don't know what it is about golf. Maybe I'm just speaking about myself, but we take it so seriously, and sometimes it's fun to just go out there and play something different. And if you have a bad hole, you're playing like a match play round, and you can just scratch it and move on, or whatever you want to do. Like, that's the freedom of golf. We can do that. Exactly.
And some of these things are ways to actually take a lot of the pressure off golf. But not all of the pressure, because, part of the game is, it's a challenge of hitting a tough golf shot or something. So it's pulling it all together. And this is the way most of us play golf week in and week out. So I think this is fun. So hopefully it'll be some new ideas, new games for people to try, perhaps. And anyway, we're going to have a fun time with this.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Before we jump into the game, should we go almost like even pre-101 level of just like some of the golf game terminology, or like a glossary of that? Like scramble, best ball, that kind of stuff. Is that helpful to hit?
Yeah.
I'm assuming most people know, but in case.
Exactly. Probably most people that are listening to a golf podcast know this stuff, but let's just kind of hit it, in terms of a few like real basics in terms of things to help people. So the typical way, almost always, that a professional tournament is going to be played is called medal play. Medal play is you are keeping your score. If you get a 10 on a hole, you got to put a 10 down. It's whatever the score is over 18 holes, and you have one score. Doesn't matter what you did on hole 1 or hole 18. It's an 18-hole score, and that's medal play. Then occasionally, at places like the Ryder Cup and other things, or what most people will play when they play club tournaments, is what's considered match play. And match play is where you're playing against either one person, or two people are playing against two people, and you're playing it hole by hole. And so if on a particular hole, let's say it's you and I playing against one another, I get a 4 and you get an 8, you don't lose 4 points. You lost one hole. And it's a question of who can win the most holes in the round.
Right.
So you go through the entire round, and it may be, I win the first hole, I'm 1 up. We then tie the second hole, I'm still 1 up. I win the second hole, I'm now 2 up. You win 3 holes in a row, now you're 1 up. And then in that sense, you can actually run out of holes in the round before the match is over, because if I'm 3 up and there are only 2 holes left to play, you can't catch up.
Right.
So that's when you would call that 3 and 2. I'm up 3 with only 2 to play. And so that's a little bit of the terminology, but it's hole by hole, which in some senses takes the pressure off.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you lose the hole, you can only lose 1 point. And it doesn't matter whether you blew up or not, you're starting the hole fresh.
My golf game loves match play.
Yeah.
It's much better for me.
Yeah. No, it's better for, there are a lot
boomer
of people
bust
who
golfer,
like that.
if you will.
Yeah. If you want to get someone just, nervous as all get out, have them play a metal play with no upper limits
Right.
to what it is, because that just terrifies someone, because they've got to make the little 1-foot putt. And as you say, you hit that out of bounds ball, and you're now hitting 3 off the tee. And, my highest score on metal play in a tournament was an 11. And it was
That was not a fun one to write down, was it?
No, it wasn't. In fact, when I finally, finished the hole, I was playing with 3 other guys, and they said, what did you score? And I said 11. They went, what? So that's metal and match play.
Which is also, metal is also called stroke a lot of times.
Yes.
I think it's helpful, because I know
called stroke play.
some
yes.
of these things get called
Yeah,
several.
that you do have 2 different things. So another one that has 2 different names to it is scramble and captain's choice. This is also what a lot of people play in just your kind of little casual one-day tournament. It might be a club tournament, or it might be, a charity tournament. And it's called either captain's choice or scramble. And that's real simple. Everybody tees off on your team, and you get to pick the best shot out of that. Everybody drops their ball basically right where the best shot has, and you hit again, and you keep on taking the best shot. And I've played a scramble with people before who there were no good players. I was probably the only quite decent player, but it's amazing how someone who can hardly hit the ball can still contribute in a scramble, because they make a random putt or so, or just have one ball in play when others hit it out of play. So scramble really takes the pressure off of anybody who is not very good,
right,
but they're still playing golf. So scramble is kind of one of the most normal.
And it feels completely just like a team where everyone's contributing. Even if you're not contributing, it's not, most of the time you're not keeping track of, we've used your ball 15 times.
And everybody's on the same side
Right.
on the team and everything. So it's scrambles are
They're just
a
a lot
of
of
fun. Yeah.
And then, which is not to be confused with best ball, which I think sometimes people get confused with, because they're like, we're going to the best ball in a scramble. But a best ball is if you and I are on a team and we each play our own ball for the whole hole. And if you get a 3 and I get a 4, then our team got a 3 on that hole.
Right. Yeah. Again, best ball is also one of the really fun things for people who like competition, but not too much, so to speak, because you can be out of a hole and you've got a partner in there to help you with it. So it's not all on you, on that. And best balls are by nature, they're always match play.
Right.
So you can both blow up on a hole, and the worst happens is you lose that one hole.
Right. Well, are there any other basic ones, terminology-wise?
Kind of one that's not very basic, but you'll occasionally run into is alternate ball.
Okay. Yeah. Alt shot.
Yeah, alternate shot. The typical way that's played, there's kind of a little variation where both players, this is not the way the Ryder Cup version happens. Professionals are too good for that. But they'll have a preferred drive, so both people will tee off. You pick the best drive, and then you have alternate shots all the way in. So if you and I were playing and I hit the best drive, you would have to hit the second shot. I don't even play the second shot.
Right.
Puts a lot of pressure on you. Then I have to hit wherever your second shot went. And we alternate shots all the way into the hole. That is actually really high pressure because you feel such pressure not to let down your partner.
Oh, yeah.
In it. So, I can hit a great drive and you shank it off to the right and I have to play your shot. And so it's like, oh, I'm so sorry I did that to you and everything. So alternate shot, there are not many tournaments that will play that way because they know that it just gets people so
I think good
nervous.
players love alternate shot. The average golfer, it feels like a lot of pressure to let down your teammate.
Yeah. And it helps if in an alternate shot, people are somewhat close in level. So anyway, alternate shot, occasionally people will run into, but there are not too many tournaments that do that.
And then sometimes preferred drive is combined with best ball too, right? Where sometimes like we would both tee off, take the best one, and then we would each play the ball from there to the hole and then take the best score.
Exactly. Yeah. So you do find a few hybrids of these things going on. So bring these all up just so it kind of helps when you're going to play in a tournament to have a sense of, okay, well, I'm not clueless when it comes to what's being talked about and best ball and, what is that? Is that a captain's choice? So maybe for a few people, it's helpful to hear those different things.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into it then. We're going to break down the episode into team games that you can play and then solo games at the end, right?
Yes.
So I guess let's start off with some different team games that are fun ways that you can just get creative, gamify golf even a little bit more. Like you said, it adds pressure in a way that it like adds pressure and minimizes pressure at the same time, which is a very cool thing.
It is a very cool thing. And you think about golf, one of the things we talked about, and we talked about it in the episode of practicing well, and actually the one after it about kind of that framework, the environment of golf, is the challenge we have is how do we take the range game to the golf course? Because the golf course has both, kind of unique situations, and it has pressure that you never have when you're on the range. So these games are a great way to just have a ton of fun, but yet you might still have a 3-foot putt that matters.
Right.
And so you're learning how to play under pressure, but as you say, it may not be all the pressure on you. So it's the best of all worlds. So, and most of us are going to want to play some game.
Right.
So some of this, we'll talk about the games we like most normally play when we're, out on a course with people. But then we're going to talk about a couple that you may not be familiar with, even if you play golf for a long time, that are a blast to play. So, yeah. All right. So the first one, and you were telling me beforehand, you didn't actually know this had a name to it.
This is the one that I played the most of the time, and I had no idea it was called this.
Yeah, I know. So the first one is a Nassau. That's the name, and I have no idea how it got its name, but it's called a Nassau. So the Nassau is basically 3 rounds in one. It's a front 9, best ball, a back 9, best ball, and then an 18-hole, all composite best ball. So there are basically 3 points in a Nassau. So you can do this 2 against 2, or you can do this 1 against 1. The problem that sometimes you come up with is you can't really play a Nassau with 3 people.
Unless it's way uneven skill levels. Then it kind of works out again.
You
if
could
one
play
golfer's
1
really
against
good,
2.
You can go 1 against 2, which
Right. Yeah, occasionally you could, but it's basically 2. So it's 1-on-1 or 2-on-2. And so you play it, it's match play for 9 holes. And so, I might be up 1 against you, up 2 against you, then you catch up, and then all of a sudden it gets to the 9th hole and we're all even, and we may tie that, and so we would be even for the front 9. And now you're playing the back 9, and the back 9 is its own match, but then you're keeping the cumulative for the 18. So I could be up 2 on the front 9, win the point for the front 9, and then you come back and win the back 9 by 3, and then you've won the back 9 plus you've won the 18. Or you might win the back 9 by 1, and so I end up winning the front 9 and the 18. So it's 2-1. And of course you can bet on that, and you can say, it's a dollar bet, per, front 9, back 9, 18, or $10 or $2 or whatever. So you can bet that way. So that's, makes it fun. It also means, if I had a bad front 9, I can at least catch up with the back 9, theoretically. So that's good.
And what's fun about it is, like you're saying, in a normal match play, you could be up 3 with 4 to play or something, or 3 with 2 to play, and it's like almost over, or it is officially over, and you can tend to check out. With this, it's great because you still have the overall. And so say you're up 3 with 2 to play and it's mathematically out of it.
Yes.
Well, those 2 matter because they can matter for the overall. So if there's now a putt there, it forces you to kind of lock in and want to get that 1 point back for the overall match too.
Right. And then, so a nuance to it that a lot of people play, so those who play it, wouldn't be surprised, is a lot of people play pressing with it. So the general rules, people have, their own versions of it. So the general rule is anytime that you're down 2 on a 9 or 2 on the 18, you can press, which means you basically start a fresh bet. So if you won the first 2 holes and you're up 2, or let's say you're up 2 after 5 and only have 4 holes to catch up, I don't want to lose. So I'll say, I'll press you, and we start a fresh bet going into, I guess, what would be the 6th hole. And so now I might win that press, and you won 1 for the 9, I won 1 for the press, and we keep forward. So, and so some people who really get into it might have multiple presses going on and some things like that. So you can play lots of different nuances of Nassau, but the basic is front 9, back 9, 18 in match plays, and it can add a lot of pressure and fun to it, whether you're playing 2 against 2, and you can play with your handicaps or not, just depending on the various people.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. And that's where I was, I guess, saying if you're not playing with the handicap and you have 3 people, that's where sometimes you can use the teams as the handicaps.
Yes.
But the second one we have on the list, I think, is probably the best game for 3 people.
Yes. The second game, and I don't find people playing this too often.
I think it's a really fun one, personally.
It is, really. So it's called Wolf. Wolf is a game, basically, that is a game for 3 people. So each hole has 3 points, and you rotate the order of who tees off on every hole, regardless of what the score was. So let's say it's you and me and a third person. First hole, you tee off first, I'm second, and then the third person is the wolf on that first hole. Now there's 3 points at stake. That person watches you tee off and can say, well, you hit an absolutely phenomenal shot, as you always do, Joe. So I'm going to be partnering with you on this hole. And so now it's the 2 of you against me as the other person. And if you guys win, you actually split 3 points. So you'd get 1.5 points each, and I wouldn't get any points. If I beat you as the lone person, I would get all 3 points by myself. So the wolf might say, well, you just hit that ball over into the woods on the left. I'm going to not take you. Now the wolf waits for me to hit the shot.
Right.
if I don't hit a good shot, the wolf may say, well, I'm going to go at and be wolf all by myself. So it's now the two of us who have hit rotten shots against the wolf who maybe hit a great shot. So one person generally is against two others on this. And of course, the wolf can get, extra points, or the single person can get 3 points as opposed to 1.5, if they lose. One of the nuances that people can play is if you're really brave, you can say, I'm going to declare and play wolf before anybody's hit at all, and it doubles the points. Okay. So if I'm behind by a lot, or I'm brave or stupid, I can say right at the beginning, it's my turn to be wolf. I'm going to be wolf all by myself. And so now the points are doubled on the hole, and it's 6 points at stake.
Before the tee shot.
Before he sees any tee shots.
So normally when you do it, when you're saying like first person tees off, right after the wolf has to decide, are they going to use it or not? If they decide no, it's done. They can't go back to it after they watch the second person go, and they're like, actually, I want to be on the first person's team.
Yeah. After you play it the first time or so, you kind of get used to it.
I think the way we've played it with 4 people is it's 4 points at stake. If it's if you're a lone wolf, you get 4. If you were on a team of 3, you would get 1 point each. So it's only like 3 points there. And then if it's 2 and 2, you each get 2 points.
Yeah, which really kind of goes to the point of, you can play around with these games, any different, way. So here's the wrinkle I would throw in. I don't think I've ever heard anybody do this, but the risk with wolf is that everybody's just going for glory. They're going, every time to try to maximize the points because it's all about winning. I think the way to do it is to make the loser buy drinks afterwards.
Okay.
So then you're not so willing to go, big and go, I'm going to go double wolf on this, because if you give up, 6 points, it's about not being the bottom of the rung, which I think is actually would be a great angle for playing.
Because it becomes just a strategy game at some point if you're playing to win, because you're like, well, Tommy's beating me right now, so I can't be on his team no matter what, because we would have the same amount of points. And so
all I'm really concerned about is catching up and getting to the lead. Yeah.
And so that's fun. I like that.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my own little nuance for wolf. So to try it, it's helpful if one of the 3 has played it before to just get used to it, because you have to pay attention to the rotation. So if you're going to tee off first on the first hole, you're going to be last on the second hole, because it's just going to rotate. I'll be second, third. So you have to pay attention to the rotation so everybody gets an equal amount of chances to be the wolf.
Right. You don't think it's confusing, and then the second hole, you're like, wait, am I second? Am I third? Am I?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
You tend to remember who's wolf and who's first, but the rest get confusing.
Yeah.
So.
But it's a really just fun kind of light competition. One of the advantages for almost all of these games is it gets you into playing one hole at a time. Because if you lose a hole, no big deal. You're playing the next hole. It counts the same amount. And that's helpful. It would be helpful to learn how to play medal or stroke play that way, where, I just shot an 11. It doesn't matter. I can get a birdie on the next hole. If we had that mind frame. That's one of the things that you kind of, I guess, almost subconsciously learn by playing these games.
Right. It is the beauty of it. It's more fun, and it teaches the lessons that sometimes I'm not even able to enter into a normal round with. We've been talking about the Think Play refresh box, which has been really helpful for it.
Right.
But it's like I tried to just obsess over a mistake and try to get it back, which you can't get it back, and all these things that are damaging. And so something like this just kind of almost allows you to get a new perspective on it, just have fun, and then you don't even realize it, but it's like a backdoor way into, wait, now I'm actually doing what I've been wanting to practice and work on, and I didn't even realize it. I'm just playing wolf now. And
it also gets us out of that tunnel vision of it's all about my score. So you can play wolf and you can be behind a lot and you can get to kind of late in the round and really have no idea what you're scoring because you've been so caught up in the score on the wolf game that you don't think about it. And that's actually probably pretty healthy.
I agree. And one of the things that's tough about golf being a game of misses is the bad shots tend to linger the most.
Yeah.
Like you hit a great one, you're just, I can't believe I did that, or whatever. And that's a whole other conversation. But one of the things that's fun about this is it kind of shifts it into where your good shots can win a hole sometimes or do something. And you kind of get the enjoyment over doing something good, not just the, I guess, call it misery of doing something bad.
Yeah. I will say that one of the risks of some of these games is that it can promote hero shots.
That's fair too.
Because, you're just trying to get back in and you're trying to hit the miracle shot because that's the only way you're going to win the hole. And so if nothing else, just realize, okay, I'm trying to hit a miracle shot. This is not the way I would play the round if I'm playing it for a score. So even with that, though, you'll find that you compete best, even in a wolf or something like that, by playing smart. Playing smart is the best way to the lower score, even just hole by hole.
All right. So the next one, skins.
Yeah, skins can be really fun, and it's a good way of adding another layer to a game. So let's say you're playing wolf, or let's say you're playing a Nassau. You can say on top of that, we're going to pay $1 or something for skins. So the skins is that on any particular hole, if you have the lowest score on that hole, you win a skin. So if I'm playing with 4 people and 3 of them make bogey and I make a par, I get a skin. If we have 4 people and 2 of them make birdies, that's a tie. There's no skin on that hole.
Which generally you carry it over, right?
Sometimes you carry it over, yeah. And so people will sometimes add skins in for a big tournament, and they will then track the scores by hole for 40 people. And you can have like a big pot, if someone happened to get kind of the miracle eagle on a hole, or it's a really difficult hole and there was only one person that got a birdie on it. So, you can do skins. That's generally done based on the gross score, not on your handicap-based score. But skins are fun to kind of just throw over and say if you want to add, an additional wrinkle to it. It's not normally something that you play by itself for a whole round.
Right.
Yeah.
I also think that it's worth noting, since we're talking about the terminology, not always, but sometimes people use skins synonymously with just points. Like in wolf, sometimes you'll hear people say like you get 4 skins or what. So
yeah,
it is its own independent thing. But since we're calling the glossary out, I feel like I've noticed people say that a number of times. I don't know if you have, but some of these things are used this way. So giving you kind of some general ways of thinking about this. All right. Well, the next one, probably the most fun name.
Yes. Have you ever played Bingo Bango Bongo?
I have not.
Okay, so this one is a great game. I've only played it a few times because not many people are familiar with it. One of the advantages of this game is it works for all different skill levels. You don't have to worry about handicaps or anything with this. So Bingo Bango Bongo is a game in which there are 3 points for every hole. It takes a little bit to keep track of this. So the first point is for the first person in the group who hits the green.
Like the first ball that lands on the green.
And stays on the green.
Well, yeah.
Lands stays on the green.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll describe it in the big scope of things, and then we'll get into the nuances of it. So Bango is once everybody's on the green, there's a point for the person who is closest to the hole on the green. All right, We'll come back to it. And then Bongo is for the first person to hole out.
Okay.
All right, so let me kind of tell you how this plays out, because after you the first time or so you play it, you go, oh, I didn't even think about that. So bingo, first person on the green. So you'd think, well, the best player is going to have a real advantage on this.
You just play ready golf and
No, but you don't play ready golf with Bingo Bango Bongo. So if I am, let's say, the best player and I drive the ball the furthest, I've got an advantage there. But if you're only 5 or 10 yards behind me, you get to hit before I do. So if you hit the green in regulation, even though I might get it closer than you or be a lot closer, then you're going to get the bingo for it. Or let's say on a par 5, the really good player goes for the green, but is 3 yards off of it. The other person gets on, they're further away on their third shot, they're going to get the bingo. For it.
Yeah, I was picturing like a race through where we're like setting world record times trying to sprint to the ball. But I see what
you're playing by the rules. So the furthest person away gets to hit first. So they, in a sense, are going to get the first chance at the bingo. Now, they may not be a good enough golfer to take advantage of that, but they've got a shot at it. So then bongo, which is really kind of where things are really interesting, someone hits the green, gets the bingo, but they're, they hit a great shot. They're 20 feet away from the hole. Well, the not as good player missed the green, but they're chipping.
Right. Or the par 5 example where you go for it and you miss, so you didn't get the bingo.
Right.
But presumably you're going to put it a lot closer.
Exactly. So the people, you might be, right on the fringe and you're putting, but you got the chance for the bango. But you wait till all of the 3 or 4 people are on the green, and you then see everybody playing in order according to the rules, who is the closest to the hole, and they're going to get a point out of it.
And then the bongo, same thing, I'm assuming. The farthest putts go first.
Exactly. So someone might, be all the way to a gimme putt, and then someone else is 3 feet away. So the beauty of it, again, then, is that you're paying attention to that 10-foot putt.
Yeah.
Because you might have been completely out of bingo and bango, but you can get the bongo by making a 10-foot putt. So even someone who's not as good a golfer has got a good chance for a bingo.
Right.
They might have a good chance for a bongo because the other 2 hit the green and they're just off the green. Or they could get the the bongo out of it with a putt. It is absolutely a hilarious game to play.
Plus the name's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
But it's fun because the bango to bongo. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, the A? No.
Yeah.
Bango to bongo pretty much reverses the order, because if you got the point in bango, you're going to be having the last chance at bongo, but then you're going to be the closer one to it, so presumably a better chance of hitting it. It's fun, like it kind of flips back and forth.
And again, it can actually be great for golf because every shot matters. That chip matters because you can get the closest to the hole. Whatever the putt is, it matters. The approach shot, it all matters. And it's fun that you can play with people of all different levels. You don't even have to worry about handicaps because everybody is in it, assuming they can hit the ball somewhat in a round.
It's probably great for that 10-foot putt range where you're actually like, hold on, let me focus and try to hold this putt because I have an opportunity to get the point here. Presumably. And that's cool. I love that one.
All right. So the 666 is a great game to play with 4 people. If you want to kind of just mix it up and you don't necessarily want to put 2 people against 2 people for the entire time, on the 666, you break it down into 3 match play tournaments of 6 holes, and you change partners every 6 hole. So that allows you to play 6 of the holes with all 3 of the other people, which is great if you've got, people of varying levels and you just want to mix it up and you want to get everybody playing with everybody else. Maybe it's just to kind of get people to know one another, and 6 holes passes really quickly. So it's a great way to kind of just mix up rather than just play 2 against 2 the whole time.
Right. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Also, I've done it where if you have 8 people and you have 2 groups of 4, you can do that and you split it up throughout so that you can all kind of play together. I think that's like the best thing about it is it's just like fun mixing it up. And so like if you have 2 groups of 4, you can play 2v2, send a twosome over to the other group for the next 6, and then you flip them from there. And so I think that's a fun way of doing it too.
Yeah, and a lot of these games just kind of are, create some creativity with it. So, if you get the sense of, well, we can do a match play and we can do it with 6 holes or we can do it with 9 holes and we can, mix up the groups, right in the middle of it or not or whatever. That's how a lot of these games are created.
I think it's fun. And one thing I would say, so I've got 3 brothers, so it's 4 of us. And games like this are really fun if we want to have an individual winner where I can say, I won the most with all of my brothers, so I'm the best one of us or whatever else if you're in a competitive family.
So
that works out.
And let me give the other side of a competitive family, because I've hit this and it throws another kind of nuance into it. Sometimes competitive families are so competitive that it takes away from the match. So on a lot of occasions in playing these matches, what I've done is say we're going to do a scramble all together. And all of us are just going to see how low we can go, and we'll maybe set a target to say, okay, we want to be 8 under for, 18 holes and the 3 of us, and we're going to do a scramble. Or even better, say, let's do a best ball all together, and we're just going to play against, we always call it play against Gary. Gary is this fictitious person who shot whatever we think is about what we should shoot. And so now I'm not competing against my sons, or my sons aren't competing against them, each other. We're all kind of on the same team. Sometimes can be helpful if you have overly competitive people like my family can tend to be.
Us as well. My brother Ben, who we like doing that too a lot of times. Whether it's a 2-man scramble with the 2 of us or best ball, just trying to figure out how low we can go. Also, because we have similar game and know each other's strengths because of it, we tend to help each other not be our own worst enemy and kind of caddy for each other, because we know that, you want to go for the screen here, and that's a terrible idea because now we're a team trying to go. And if we do a scramble, then we make one of us play it the smart way, and then the other one can try to hit the hero shot and realize that 70% of the time, the smart shot's the one we're using.
Well, which all gets to kind of the heart of all of this is, you pick the game that you're going to have the most fun with.
Right.
You get to play a regular round of golf or whatever, and what's going to be the most fun with the people you happen to be playing with. And so how are you going to add to the game? So sometimes it's to ramp up the competition so you can, razz each other, a bunch. Sometimes it's, I think we'd be better being all on the same side. Sometimes you want to be playing your own ball. Sometimes it's, better with people you're playing with to take that pressure off and say, let's just do a scramble, amongst each other. So figure out what's going to make the game the most fun.
Right. And get creative. And there could be a 10th one that we haven't mentioned. That's one of the most fun things that me and my family like to do. Is just come up with something.
There were 3 or 4 versions of games that I haven't tried that sounded really fun that I kind of pulled up as things that you can do. So, it's great.
But all of these are the team games. And so jumping into what do you do if you're playing by yourself and want to figure out how we can, one, improve, have fun. This is a great practice tool too.
Yeah. And one of the things that's great about this is when you're playing by yourself, the risk, the threat is that you're not focused. You're kind of only half in it because it doesn't really matter that much whether you hit a good shot or bad shot. So in a sense, some of these solo games are, I think, some of the most important ways of getting the most out of a round when you're playing by yourself.
Right. And like we've been saying over and over, and we'll say, are so much more fun too a lot of times.
Absolutely.
So the first one, I think this is a fun one. Bryson DeChambeau is huge on this one. It's playing from the front tees. He said this is actually what led to his Breaking 50 series, because he used to always play from the red tees, because he was saying that's what teaches you how to score low. It mentally, it does a lot for you. It works on all the skills around greens, approach shots, things like that. And so one of his, I would say one of the biggest things that he says is if you want to learn how to score low, go play from the forward tees.
Yeah, it was great when he came out with that, because it was like this big permission that he gave to the golf world to do something radical, like for the big macho man to go play from the red tees that normally they would never consider doing because they look foolish going up playing from the red tees. But and I have to admit, I have not done it. I played up from tees, but not done it. But it is an incredibly useful thing to do, and in one sense, humbling, because you think you should be able to go that much lower, and yet you realize how hard it is to actually score well,
Right.
regardless of what tees you've played from.
Right. I've only done it once for a full round. I thought it was a ton of fun too.
Yeah.
I had I think at the time it was like the second eagle I've ever had. And it was one of those things I was like, oh, this feels really approachable now. And it was just like a par 4 that's drivable easily now and stuff like that. And I think that every part of your game gets to be improved by it, because pretty much every par 4 is drivable. And so that if you want to go for it, that works on driving accuracy, because you actually think about the shot you want to hit, picture a landing area and stuff that I generally don't do with the fairway. And if I carried that same approach over, I think it would help with fairways or like normal tee shots a lot. The greens obviously are the exact same. And when you're up there, it's there and the same. And
well, I push back on that a little bit, because there are not many people. I mean, you hit the ball a long way. So, you can hit the ball a long ways, but there are not that many people who can get to par 4s, even from the red tees, with a big drive. They can get close, but, they're not, a whole bunch of red tees are still 350, in length. And there are not many people who are hitting 300 and 350. So what you find, which to me is kind of like the huge benefit, is you're going to have a lot of shots in that 30 to 70 yard range.
right.
And so you need to have a good golf game. And that is the shot that terrifies so many people. And so they'll find that they're moving up to the red tees and they're getting into this place that's just really hard. And so it hones your game in a lot. It both teaches you how to play aggressively in a good way, but then it also exposes some different things. So it challenges all parts of your game that maybe are hidden in the normal length, holes that you play.
That's a really good point. And I would even say for the ones that are like borderline drivable, it then opens up the strategy thing a little bit more, where you're like, wait, is this actually worth it to go for right now? Or do I want to lay up to this area or like this distance when I'm feeling more comfortable? Like maybe I want to be at 80 yards in or 90 yards in. And so I feel like sometimes when the hole's further, I get in my head about, well, I need to make sure that I'm maximizing distance each step of the way, which it's flawed in 100 different ways. But for whatever reason with the red tees, I'm like, well, I don't need to worry about that because...
Well, and then the other side, of course, to that is you get to the red tees and you have a drivable par 4. Can you make a smooth swing? Or are you going to get so excited, so ramped up? It goes back to our other episode of being in the think box and the play
Right.
box and going through your normal routine and making a normal driver swing so that you're not taking a drivable par four and hitting it out of bounds because you were trying to whale it 20 yards further than you can normally hit it.
Right. That's a great point with it.
Yeah. So it's just a challenge. It makes you a better golfer because you're doing things you don't normally do in it. So that then goes to the other side of the equation of a great solo game, if you're willing to try it, and that's play the course from the tips, or from one set of tees back from what you normally play. If the tips is too much, go back a chunk from where you normally play, and you will probably be surprised how little of an impact that has on your overall score. That you move back a little bit. Yes, you're hitting a little bit longer shots into the green, or you may not even be able to reach it, but you can get up close and you maybe get the same scores on 80% of the holes. So again, in a sense, it takes some of the intimidation out and it makes you a golfer with more breadth
Right.
to them.
Well, and to that point, especially if you tend to play the same course, but even if not, a lot of courses can be similar distances. It gives you just different clubs into greens.
Yes.
A lot of times there might be, plenty of rounds where you never use a club. And if you switch tees, all of a sudden you use it 3 times, 4 times that round. And so,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's
All of this is occasionally take the opportunity to get out of your comfort zone and play golf a little differently. Instead of just playing it the same way from the same tees for a score, time after time, particularly at your own course, do something different, mix it up. That's actually the way to improve. And you are going to still be hitting real shots on real golf courses in real pressure. So, yeah.
I think that's great. Some other ones, a scramble with yourself. And we have 2 versions of it, a regular scramble or the reverse scramble, where you go to your worst shot each time.
Yeah. This is a good game to play when you're by yourself, but you happen to be behind a threesome or a foursome, and you still want to play, but you're just going to be waiting. Go ahead and make it into a 2-person scramble, or you can do it as a 2-person best ball. The best ball will take more time because you might have to be walking, further distance from shot to shot. But a scramble won't add that much time, but you're getting in double the amount of shots, which is great with it. So it's taking a little bit more time, but you can really work on your game that way.
The 2-person best ball, the 1-person, 2-person best ball is one of my personal favorites. I do it at the par 3 course that I practice at a lot, all the time, because it's generally you're waiting anyway. And so I'll just play 2 balls and it will put you in, obviously, well, I say obviously, it's very unlikely that you can hit the same shot all the time. So it's going to put you in different positions. Often you'll be in a trap that you might not be in if you're doing a scramble, because why would you go to the trap when you could?
Right. So the nuance to me for the 2-person best ball that I've thrown into, I don't know if you've done this, is play with 2 different brand balls. So, one of your scores is a Callaway, the other score is a Titleist. So then you actually keep score for your Callaway throughout the entire 18 holes, and you keep score for the Titleist, and you keep a best ball. That way, you are less likely to kind of just give up on a bad shot, a ball that's out of it, because you're trying to actually get not only a best ball score, but you're getting a score per ball. So it gives you a sense of how you would do on your own twice,
Right.
and a best ball score. So it throws, you're getting 3 scores,
Right.
in a sense, 3 rounds out of 1. So I like when I'm doing that to have 2 balls and say, okay, daggone, I made a birdie with this Callaway, and now I don't want to throw away that score. So I got to really hang in there and keep from this double bogey on this
Right.
next time with the Callaway, because I don't want that score to go down the drain, even though I might have a best ball score that's okay.
Right. Yeah. So you can, I mean, with that, you get a normal one. You could do a combined, like an aggregate score of those. You could even, like, it's a 2-round score. And if your best ball score is great, because I've heard it said that if you're curious, like, what could I potentially go out and be a low round?
Yeah.
Your best ball score is essentially reflective of your upside potential at that moment.
Yeah.
And so you could get what did I do right now? What are the 2 of them, or the average of those? And then what could it have been if I had gone out and played lights out today?
So one thing I would throw in, if you're playing a solo round, this is just my own personal opinion on this, is more than ever, make yourself play according to the rules. That is, if you're normally in a round going to play the ball down, that is, you don't improve the lie in the fairway, don't improve the lie in the fairway. Don't give yourself putts unless they are just like, ridiculously short, because you're going to get better by trying to make yourself play real golf. And I know I have fallen into the tendency many times of kind of just getting lax when I'm playing around, not paying a lot of attention to a shot, giving myself a 3 or 4 or 5 footer, or thinking I didn't really concentrate on that. Let me pull it back and try it again. And you're going to get better when you really treat it seriously, which I think is an advantage of making a game out of it. But if you're going to make a game out of it, then play it real, as you would. So I will try as often as I can, particularly when I'm playing by myself, putt everything out. Even those 2 footers that maybe in a round of golf someone else would give you, but don't give it to yourself. It's a great opportunity to really push yourself to get better in those areas of a game. So regardless of the game, and nothing wrong if you decide I'm just playing around and I don't want to do that. Now, you don't have to do that. But if you don't ever do that when you're playing these games, you're losing an opportunity to get better while you're having some fun.
That's a great point. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So if you are ready to get humbled, but it's a great experience for a solo game, is play a reverse scramble. It seems like Bryson's talked about this also. But the reverse scramble is you play 2 balls on every shot, but you have to play the worst shot on every time. So you see how good a score you can get playing your worst shot every time. So if you've got a 3-foot putt, you've got to make it twice. So you're going to play that shot twice. And if you miss it once, you got to then take that extra shot. If you hit one drive and it's a terrible drive and you hit the other one, you bomb it down 350 yards, you don't care about that 350. You have to play the bad shot. You have to play the bad approach shot. You have to play the bad chip shot all the way in. And this is a great way of learning how to grind, in a sense, or how do I learn not to double bogey?
Right.
Or not triple bogey, which is more important for scoring than getting the birdies. So it's tough because you have to, I guess, be okay with not getting good scores. But in terms of really creating a learning experience, playing a reverse scramble is incredibly challenging. And if you just kind of take the challenge at face value, you can have a good time with it.
And when you were talking about the hero shots with the scramble, what better way to eliminate trying to take hero shots than playing a reverse scramble? Because
Exactly.
You're not worried about how well could I hit this shot. You're worried about how do I make sure that I mitigate my miss here.
Well, exactly, which immediately puts you in the place of playing smart golf.
Right. It's all the things that help you score well, because
Yeah.
if you're talking about a game of misses, then you have to think about every single shot, because you don't want to lose focus and put yourself in the woods on the next one.
Yeah. So the point of this episode is both figure out different ways to have fun. The game's fun. It should be about fun, but also realizing that if you mix it up a bit, it's its own avenue for improving your game. You know, you can work on specific parts of your game just by gamifying it, you know, whether you're playing by yourself or playing with other people. So instead of breaking it down and saying, okay, here's the round I'm really trying to work on my game, and here I'm just playing a, quote, casual round, realize both can be an opportunity both for fun and getting a lot better at the game. And if you combine this with however many rounds you play in a year, 10, 20, 50, 100, whatever, you know, there's a lot of opportunity to get better and have a lot of fun at the same time. So mix it with the other things we're talking about of how to practice well, and mix it with developing the routines that we talked about in the last round, and you can become a much better golfer through doing these things.
I agree. And one thing I'd add to that, when you're talking about mixing in the practicing well, I think the self-diagnosing piece is huge, because a lot of these games, there's a strong correlation with something that might be an issue. Like if I notice that I'm taking a lot of hero shots and not playing smart, then a reverse scramble is a perfect game for me to play.
Yeah.
Because it forces me to work on it in a gamified way. And so I think these games have those, and if not, there's more that you can find or create of, if you know that there's a certain aspect of your game that you need to work on, there's probably a game that you can do that just, and I guess, forces it almost.
Yeah. Well, to that point, you know, neither one of us are experts in all the ways to gamify golf and stuff. If those who are listening to this episode have tried some of these, or maybe you even know some other versions, I would love to hear your comments on what you've learned by doing a reverse scramble or playing from the up tees or doing some of these things. What are the things you've learned from this? Because I think it would just add to, you know, all of what we're doing in Links for Life to figure this out. So
Yeah, I love it.
yeah. So, you know, in terms of the other things that we talk about, because we always try to link Links for Life golf with the other things, you know, we can add a lot to life by being creative about the things that we do. I was talking with my wife, Wheezy, and we were talking about GPS and how, you know, now the most ordinary drive, I'll just, you know, pay attention to what GPS tells me. And she was talking about, yeah, but, you know, I really like to just drive different routes to the same place. I thought, well, that's strange, you know, but it's great. And so there are so many things that we can learn by simply trying different things. You know, I talk about, you know, in Space for Life, sometimes driving your car without the radio on or podcast playing or, you know, doing something different. So all of this is about enjoying the most out of all our different experiences. And we can do that in life, and we can do that in golf.
Love it.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully this has been a fun episode. Try out some of these games with your friends. It's a great way to laugh a lot. It's a great way to add a little competition to things. You know, have a fun time with this, and we'll see you next week.